Good evening. I'd like to call the May 14th meeting, town board meeting to order. Ms. Marco, will you call the roll?
Mr. Dodson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Present.
Mrs. Galucci? Present. Mr. Schlaf?
Present.
And Mrs. Collins?
Present.
Four present, one absent.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Marco. The quorum is present. Mr. Lamora, would you please join us in saying?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me. We'll start off this evening with public hearing number 1. Ms. Marco, would you please read?
To amend chapter 107 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam regulating dogs within the Town of Rotterdam.
Ms. Marco, is there anyone who wishes to speak?
No, they did not.
Okay. There's no one signed up to speak. I'll entertain a motion to either keep this hearing, public hearing open or closed.
Make a motion to close.
Okay. Yeah, it was almost dead even. I'm going to say Mr. Mastriani made the motion, and Mr. Schlaf second.
Got it.
Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlaf?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, one absent. Closed.
Okay. Motion was passed to close. We'll now move on to public privilege of the floor. Ms. Marco, is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Bill Hanson?
My name is Bill Hanson. I live at 1324 Main Street here in Rotterdam Junction. I have a problem with 5S. It's a race course. It is unreal how fast these cars will go along here. We've been in front of this building and they'll go by 100 miles an hour at times. It's awful. Somebody's going to get really hurt bad here. And on top of that, you've got an awful problem with ATVs, motorcycles, motorbikes, four-wheelers, anything that's got wheels on it and no plates. Use this like it's a common thoroughfare, and they go just, you can't believe how fast they go. Something's going to happen. The police, and I mean all the agencies, they've got to do something about this. Now, I know your policy is they're not going to pursue these things, but you better start thinking of a way to handle it, because it's out of hand right now. And I think there's some people from Main Street right here, they're shaking their head. It's a problem. It's a big problem. So I guess that's my biggest thing right there. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Bills?
Hi, my name's David Bills. I live at 1390 Main Street. I've been a resident of Rotterdam Junction, Pattersonville all my life, except for 4 years served my country. I've seen a lot of town boards, and just before I start what I was going to say, I want to commend this town board for tackling the tough decisions. I mean, I've seen the town boards, but we paved the road, we put a park, we did the good stuff. But you guys have went for the infrastructure, and it's hard to tell people we need more money for infrastructure when they already have water at their house. They think it's like, I already got water, why do I have to pay more? And I commend you guys for taking on the hard decisions instead of kicking it down the road like the last 20 board members have. And I'm sorry to hear that 3 are not going for re-election. And that's very disappointing, I'm sorry. And I'm not even a Republican, so. But I came here today because I need you to, one more thing for you to do before the new town board gets elected or whatever. We have a water system here that I'm quite familiar with. I know the nuts and bolts of it. The taxpayers of Rotterdam Junction, Pattersonville are the owners of the water district out here. The town board manages it for us, and we appreciate it. You charge us a fee, we understand that. And our biggest bill is our maintenance. I wish Mr. Davidson was here because he's the nuts and bolts of a lot of this stuff, but I'm sure he'll watch the tape. So, here's what I'm here about tonight. Pass these down. I know the town of Rotterdam has an agreement with the county for electric, okay? But it doesn't have an agreement with District 3 and 4 water. And I don't know what town board approved a radio tower on Rotterdam Districts 3 and 4's property when the deed says not to be used for anything but water. But that's already there. But the county installed in 2021 this transformer. And this transformer, as you can see, the picture of it, it is a small item. And it goes to the radio tower that conducted for the county. And on that thing, it says the county owns this equipment, right there. But they don't have a meter. We're paying for that, the electricity for that. District 3 and 4 is paying for the power for that thing. And we pay county taxes out here. And I don't see why we should have to pay double. And that's one of our biggest maintenance things that we get billed for, where everybody's paying enough. I appreciate you if you guys could do one more thing and get the county to put a meter in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Capola, thank you for your service.
Hi, good evening. I apologize, I've got allergies to everything, I guess. I'm Andrea Capola, I live at 625 River Road. I want to thank this board for coming out here to have the meeting this evening. I want to thank the fire department for hosting. I want to thank the fire department for responding to numerous calls, not fires, but first responder calls to accidents and heart attacks, and I've fallen and I can't get up, and I'm stepping on a lot of feelings around here. I also want to thank them for responding to things in the river. They respond, they don't just go to fires. And speaking of things in the river, if the minutes count, they have a boat, it'd be nice if they could get it in the water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brianne, Cindy?
Meeting to the board and Madam Supervisor, I'm Brianne Simke, and I reside at 137 Country Walk Road, which is in Rotterdam. I've lived there for the last 4 years. I was recently notified that I was violating a town bylaw, 270-160, for my camper being in my driveway. I know this matter has come before the board before and has made its way all the way to courts. I'm not here to go to that distance. What I am here to ask is A, the intention of the bylaw, and B, to provide a little bit of why this kind of excludes certain members of our community, also adds costs to us as those who like to get out and enjoy the great outdoors. And what you don't know about me is I'm a New York resident, so I moved here 4 years ago after living lots of different places. So, I bought my house sight unseen. Never even stepped foot in the state to the day I closed on my own. So, with that, our bylaws really do exclude the ability for people like me who have 4 kids, but I do it all. And to store my trailer behind my home on a grade or in my side yard on a grade would be unsafe to my kids, to myself, any neighbor who wanted to wander into my yard, and there's an excess cost to us as taxpayers. I pay property tax. There should be no differentiation in the definition of a driveway and a front yard. That is how the bylaw is written, though, that a driveway is a front yard. If you look at the definition of a yard, that is greenery, that is shrubbery, and it's decorative. My driveway, I don't know about others, it's not very decorative. It is meant for one purpose and one purpose only, to keep vehicles on it. Also, this bylaw is discriminatory. Motor vehicles, Class Cs, able to be stored on your driveway. Those are dangerous, right? They have a transmission, they have a whole system. Mine is a trailer. You exclude every other type of recreational vehicle, boats, sea-doos, ski-doos. The list can go on and on. You single-handedly pointed out one type of recreational vehicle in every single zoning bylaw. You only picked up on a travel trailer. Adherence is almost impossible, particularly in El Dorado, Sunrise, where there is a prominent number of us who do like to camp. And there are 273 registered, we call travel trailers in Rotterdam. All are under 5 years of age. They're not dilapidated, they're not run down. My particular unit cost me $50,000. I do not want it stored in public properties. I've inquired at Wright's RV. He would like $150 a month to keep it in just an open air lot with no electricity running to it, to keep mold at bay, my refrigerator running. I use my unit at least once a month in season. Camping in season depends, but in New York, we were camping for spring break. So I had my unit open and ready to go in March. I think it's important also that if we have bylaws that are held up unilaterally without bias and without prejudice. I have come to know that there are 2 violations active at the time in the town, all on my street. When asking my friends in Sunrise, my kids go to Chalmont, lots of us camp, asking where they're going, what they're doing, when I talk about the issues that I'm having, no one else is having these problems. So, what am I proposing? I'm asking first that you seriously consider an amendment to the bylaw to exclude driveway from the definition of a front yard. Second, I'm asking that there be a clear definition and the intent of the word storage. My unit is not stored, it is used. Most times in the summer, we're gonna be gone Thursday to Sunday when my kids are out of school. So, yep, Monday to Wednesday I'd like it there so I can keep it plugged in, keep it cold, not gross, and be ready to roll out the next weekend. Second, I think it's important, yes.
No,
Oh,
sorry. That's okay, go ahead.
I'm at my time?
Yep.
I'll finish there. In conclusion, I just please wish that you consider, I also have a petition of 90 people at this time. Yes, please.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Very much.
Brenda Sekowitz? Cut it.
Good evening, and thank you for hearing me. I guess where I would start is, I live on 9 Lock Street. My husband and I purchased one of the newer homes, 4 years, actually, we built this 4th year, at the end of last summer. It was dry, we're not deemed a flood zone. Sub pump was never recommended or anything. It was actually concrete, it's still in the ground. And I've never seen a dryer cellar, knowing that the past, with Rotterdam, you had the big flood. Big flood, rainwater, in my mind, there's a reason. So, last Wednesday, I was quite shocked when I opened my door to my cellar and I had 3 inches of water. My husband and I moved quickly to try to start getting it out. I thank everyone at the town because they have been pleasant with me and very information because I've gone and I've asked. I don't know the history of what's going on there. I know that there's sub-pump problems, there's fire hoses run, and there's open boxes, there's children, there's water, there's electricity. I've taken pictures down to the town where you know, it set some alarms off because we're worried. So anyways, I guess why I'm here is I had to have a sub pump put in. We put in a sub pump. We are very blessed that I had very little loss, but now it's very costly for us. Insulation had to be torn out, you know, the gamut. So I keep just hearing from everyone that it is the rainwater and shouldn't have bought here because the water table. Well, none of this was brought forth to us in any way. So I just want to know what was being done. And Ms. Collins, she explained much to me. However, I just want to know whatever that is going to be done, is this, my sub pump's still running out. The street's dry. The hose, the big pump was shut off Friday evening. So it hasn't been running at all. So it's going into my cellar and it's going into my neighbor's cellar, the other matching house that was built together. He, unfortunately, has had over a foot of water in his basement, and my heart just goes out to him. So it's not just rainwater. There's no one else on the street's basement has any water. And I am finding it hard to believe in 4 years it's never rained this much. So it's like, why is it in my cellar now when it never has been in 4 years? I know I'm not an engineer, but I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this. And if I know there is an easement proposal for some work to be done, if this is done, is this going to stop the water? This changes my whole house. This changes everything, even if it is everything. So it's like, if anybody can give me any type of information, I was hoping that maybe you could speak on it. I guess that's I'm looking for answers, and that's all. But I thank you. I thank you for your time, and one day at a time, one step at a time.
Thank you. I have just one that was emailed or brought up to my office today. It says town board meeting. Diane, please read the statement during the town of Rotterdam's public comment period. Due to circumstances beyond my control, I am unable to attend the meeting in person on October 17, 2024. Mr. Mastroeni visited a home in Scotia and took a piece of mail out of the mailbox. This was caught on door cam footage. On January 6, 2025, Mr. Mastroeni was arraigned on petty larceny charges. He pleaded not guilty. In the end, Mr. Mastroeni pleaded guilty to 1 count of disorderly conduct with court fees. When this was reported by the Schenectady Gazette on March 31st, 2025, a resident posted he's a little punk, to which Mastroeni reposted, go sit on something sharp and rotate. If I see you out, and we'll see who's the punk. Not only did Mr. Mastroeni steal from another person's mailbox, but he physically threatened a resident. Mr. Mastroeni is acting like a teenager and not a 40-year-old responsible adult who represents the residents of the town of Rotterdam. Once again, I implore Mr. Mastroeni to resign from the board immediately. The residents deserve much better. Many will say it was a one-time incident. No, no, no. If he did it once, he did it many times. This is the first time he got caught. Mr. Mastroeni, you need to resign. If you are a decent individual, you owe an apology and an explanation to all the residents of Rotterdam. The present board needs to explain their silence on this matter to 30,000 residents of the town of Rotterdam. Signed, Brenda Terosian. And that's it.
That the last speaker?
That's it.
May I speak for a moment?
Well, he can go ahead.
Well, I'm going to speak about the rainwater a little
In
bit.
case everybody doesn't know, it's Larry
Oh,
Lamar.
I'm sorry, Larry Lamar, the highway superintendent. We get several calls during times like this when we get this heavy rainfall. This past week or so, we've had like 4 or 5 inches of rain came down within a couple of days. Not just Lock Street, over by Town Hall, Walnut Street. There's other areas in town that when we get this much rain, it's not all just from the road, just from your backyard, just from the surrounding areas. That rain seeps into the ground. Your water table levels are gonna come up. They're gonna come up above your footings and come up, your cellar wall some. And if water finds its easiest way of path to exit, and your cellar is a void. Should there be a little hole someplace or in the corner of, the cellar wall or something, that you know water's gonna be coming in. I highly recommend that any resident that has a sub pump hole or something in their cellar, they should always make sure they have a sub pump in there. You could have a house that did not collect water for maybe 10 years. We've had these complaints come from residents, all of a sudden they come and they say, I've never gotten water in my cellar before, and all of a sudden now I'm getting water. That easiest path of water had found a way through that, maybe that old cellar block. The house could have been erected 20, 30 years ago. Foundation could get a crack in it, something could happen. The water will find its way in. Lock Street, we are working on acquiring some property and trying to get absolute drainage so that road itself doesn't flood. But people gotta understand, our drainage systems work for the streets, that the water collects and sheds off from the roads, goes into these catch basins, and through these pipes that are going to the outfalls. The outfalls themselves drain into creeks and rivers, streams, and like that. Now, like just coming here along 5S, the canal system by where all the power lines are, filled right up with water. A lot of this water is hard for it to exit out when these levels are so high. So it takes a while for the water to recede. So the ground's gonna be saturated with water. And if you have a way to put a sump pump in for cheap insurance for yourself, to make sure that, should water ever get in your cellar, that you don't open that cellar door and all of a sudden see 3 feet of water in there. It's good insurance to have. I don't care if the house was just freshly built. Sometimes they get built, they put that sump pump hole in, and they don't install the sump pump for you. And then that's what you experience, and all of a sudden you gotta run out, buy the sump pump, and usually that's too late in your insulation, because if you got a finished basement, that's what happens. But people gotta realize these catch basins and the piping in the streets, when we do fix Lock Street, eventually get to that, they're only so deep in the ground. A lot of these culvert pipes and things, they're only 2, 3, 4 feet maximum in the ground. Your cellar basements are 6, 8 feet deeper in the ground. So we're only taking the subsurface water. It's not gonna take the drainage from down deep where your cellars are, where the water table has come up. And it affects the town in different areas. It's like there's sometimes it rains real heavy in High Bridge area and not so much in Rotterdam Junction, or vice versa. And that's what happens, and we get different areas that get flooded, and people say, oh, the drainage, you gotta check our catch basin, which we do. We will go, we do investigate, make sure the pipes are cleared, and that the water can run. Well, like I said, the water can only run so fast when the river's full and the end of that pipe is covered up above that pipe. So it's cheap insurance to make sure I express to all the residents. If you can put a sump pump in your cellar for that little bit cheap insurance, do so. It'd be very beneficial for you at one time or another. Because it happens, some people we've had, like I said, 10, 12 years, they never get a drop of water in their cellar. And all of a sudden, after a harsh winter where the snow melts and you get a real lot of rain and the frost is in the ground, and all of a sudden the water starts leaking in a cellar that never has. But I recommend, residents, please put sump pumps in your cellars just for cheap insurance. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
And there might be answers to some of your questions if you wait to the end of the meeting to do that. Then I'm imposing privilege of the floor, we'll now move on to resolutions. Ms. Marco, would you please read the first resolution, Resolution 174, year 2025?
Accepting town board meeting minutes.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Clark. Question? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani? Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cox?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passed. Resolution 175 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To accept revenue for the town clerk's office for April of 2025.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll second the motion.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Mastriani, second by Mrs. Galucci. On the questions, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 176 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To appoint Michael Solomon as the director of the Rotterdam Town Band for the 2025 Summer Concert Series.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schlad. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Next resolution is Resolution 177 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To appoint Joel Miller as the director of the Rotterdam Jazz Band for the 2025 Summer Concert Series.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes,
4 yes, 1 absent.
resolution passes. Resolution 178 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To approve budget transfers for 2025 budget hydrants.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I heard both.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Mastriani, second by Mr. Schlad. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. During the agenda meeting, we tabled Resolution 179. So we'll now move on to Resolution 180. The clerk will read.
To accept an award bid for one used bucket truck model year 2012 or newer.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schlad. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes,
4 yes, 1 absent.
resolution passes. Resolution 181 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Call for bids for Curry Road, Route 7 reconstruction between Altamont Avenue and DeForest Streets.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schlad. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes,
4 yes, 1 absent.
resolution passes.
Can you use the big one?
Resolution 182 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Call for bids for hazardous materials removal at 369 Duanesburg Road, Rotterdam, New York.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes,
4 yes, 1 absent.
resolution passes. Resolution 183 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Call for bids for 6.3 millimeter polymer modified hot mix asphalt highway resurfacing.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schlad.
You're gonna be quicker.
No, we need buzzers up here.
It's a long day.
I'm sorry. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes,
4 yes, 1 absent.
resolution passes. Resolution 184 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Call for bids for Sanborn Road, type 3 dense binder and 6.3 millimeter polymer modified hot mix asphalt highway resurfacing.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is that wrong?
Yeah, what's wrong?
I can hear it.
Very good, Mrs. Schlad.
Thank you.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry. Seconded by Mr. Mastriani. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schlad?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 185 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Call for proposals for grinding and removal of brush, yard waste, and wood.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make the motion?
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Mrs. Calucci. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Ms. Meek?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 186 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute an agreement with Barton and Judas for hazardous materials consulting services for the Rotterdam Police Courts Project 369 to Waynesburg Road.
Is there any discussion?
Is that the removal of the building that's there, the?
Not all of it.
No?
When we did the testing, some of it, there was a little bit of lead paint and some asbestos in the building.
Okay.
So that's what has to be removed before it can be demolished. Is there any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schwab. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 187 of the year 2025, clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute an agreement with KD Engineering and Architecture, PC, for the professional engineering services related to the leaking fire hydrant replacement project.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 188 of the year 2025, clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute an agreement with KD Engineering and Architectural, PC, for professional engineering services related to the mercury minimization plan.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second? I'll second. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 189 of the year 2025, clerk will read.
To negotiate and execute an agreement with Collar City Auctions, Inc. for auctioneer services of government assets.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I heard Mr. Shaw first. And seconded by Mr. Mastriani.
Right.
On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dobson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes,
4 yes, 1 absent.
resolution passes. Resolution 190 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To enact local law number 4 of 2025 to amend chapter 107 of the Code of the Town of Rotterdam regulating dogs within the Town of Rotterdam.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yeah, just the reason for this is we created a dog park in Jurassic Park, and it's not open yet, so we have to enact the laws around the utilization of the dog park and the permitting process. So this is to change that law to allow for the dog park and the restrictions or permitting in that dog park. So that's what this law is.
Is there any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Mr. Schwab. Clerk will call the roll, or I'm sorry, is on the question. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 191 of the year 2025, clerk will read.
To select Barton and LaJudas PC for professional engineering services for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mrs. Galucci, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schwab. Clerk will call the roll. Or, I'm sorry, I'm really rushing it tonight. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 192 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Appoint seasonal laborers to the highway department.
Okay, is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schwab. On the question, Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cox?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 193 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
Appoint seasonal park attendants to the Parks and Water Department.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schwab. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
Mrs. Cox?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. Resolution 194 of the year 2025, the clerk will read.
To approve budget transfers to the 2025 budget, part-time summer attendants.
Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Mastriani, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Schwab. On the question, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Dodson is absent. Mr. Mastriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Galucci?
Yes.
Mr. Schwab?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cox?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Resolution passes. And that concludes our resolutions for this evening. Do any of the board members have anything they wish to say on the liaison reports?
I had a great day last week. I went with the chamber and we visited a lot of the local businesses. So it's really beneficial because we get to hear some of the challenges that they face and just get to know them better. And so we have another one planned for July, and we'll have a theme around that one. And it's just a really terrific day, just to spend time with them and let them know that we're here, and we try to focus on different areas. So it's a good day.
Anybody else have anything on the liaison? How about miscellaneous?
I just want to address the woman on Lock Street. Like Harry was saying, although the town does have plans for a project relative to Lock Street, there's no project that the town could do that can guarantee you that you're not going to get water in your basement. It is within the 100-year floodplain of the river, and it has a higher than normal water table, and when you do experience weather events like 4.5 inches of rain, that water table rises. And like you said, as houses age, foundations can crack, they can get holes, and water is going to enter through those areas. So even though we can address the street flooding issues, we cannot necessarily guarantee you that that will resolve the flooding in your basement issue. The best thing you could have done is put that sump pump in there.
Let me ask you a question. Like I said, it's only a 4-year-old home. This is the 4th year. And there's never been water there. There's been a problem with the pump outside. And you can't say it's pumping all right, because you've got hoses and everything. You can see there's a problem. So I'm wondering, unless there's, my husband thinks maybe, could there be another water? There's no water in the street. There's water in the street right now. You know where it's coming from? Because it's coming out of, yes.
I was just there.
Groundwater.
It's groundwater that's
It's
coming in,
groundwater.
not surface water.
Okay, so then why, when these houses were built then, why was it not mandatory? Is there another avenue I should seek out because of
Go
this?
back after the
legal
homeowner.
requirement
Because-
Go after the builder.
Yeah, it's not
Even after- Yes, it should have been disclosed. If you're telling me this is a high water table, okay? And we do know, we spent 7 years down in South Carolina, so we know about drainage problems. We know about the water, we know about the tables, we know all about this. There's just something not right about this, and I don't know what it is. If I was told that I had to have a sump pump, well, probably I would have moved here. But second, I would have had a sump pump put in right away.
All your neighbors have sump pumps.
Not all of them. Does everybody have a sump pump?
doesn't have-
Not everybody on the street has a sump pump. But
Well,
that
go down
street, that street is
lower
a
ones.
flood zone street, because I'm in flood zone and I live across the street from it.
That street's always been a mess. For
Yeah.
years.
You got the street, I know you got a problem, but now all of a sudden, because of all this, if
That's just
If the
been a problem
pipes-
for years.
you have a
I've been dealing with
temporary,
it.
but your pump is out being fixed. I've talked to the guys, I've talked to different
Right,
people.
but there's
It's
another
out.
pump in there right now that is working.
Right, but it's a
Right.
backup.
Right.
So it's just like reasonable doubt. That's like, okay, so something's wrong here, and we never had water, but now it's here, but we never had to have it pumped. I didn't have to have flood insurance. We probably would have gotten to it. We just bought at the end of last summer. So we haven't even been here, 6 months? And there's been a lot of things as you get to resettle. We purchased this house because we're older, we're retired. And it's like, yeah, now we're gonna have fun. And this will mark the property now. If I go to resale, we got water.
That's why you gotta put a sump pump in.
Then why was it not told to us? Why did the town?
The town would not tell anybody, they don't interfere in any person selling their homes and tell people what is required for them to disclose. That's not an obligation on the town. That is an obligation on the seller to tell you those things related to your house. I would recommend
You should have
speak
talked
to
to
the property
the neighbors
attorney about any rights you might have against the
first.
seller or the home inspector relative to your place.
Yeah,
But it's
somebody
not
signed off
something,
someone.
The
the
other
town
way.
doesn't send out notices to potential
Ones
buyers
across
of
the
homes
street
that,
have
hey,
flooding all the
you
time.
might have a flooding problem. That
I
doesn't
thought you
happen.
would have,
A building inspection
thank
and like
you,
a
a building
permit
inspector
process.
that has to come and say,
Right.
okay, I mean, it is.
But the sump pump is
You have
not a
nothing to
legal
do with it.
requirement under New York State Building Code.
Okay, so it's not, so it's right under there. So thank you, ma'am,
Welcome to
thank
New
you,
York,
ma'am.
it's so whack.
No, we lived in Rotterdam, on Paul Avenue for years. I had a business in Rotterdam. The old Fusco's, and it's like, I didn't know about Rotterdam Junction. Yes, everybody has a flood, and that's a 1 in 100 or whatever. And I know the barge was blocked. I mean, yeah, we know these things. So, that's what I was just looking for, a little bit of input and a little bit, and I've just gotten the same thing that I've gotten from the guys on the street and everyone else.
Would it be prudent to pass a code that we have to, in Rotterdam Junction recharge zone, built to get a CO, you have to have some pump in? Would that be cumbersome? Is it not, it's not necessary everywhere?
Anybody on the other side of the 5S, so has all gravel, so
Yeah.
go stay
It's
there.
so specific.
That's a pool down
You have
there.
flooding in your house?
Yes.
You
Oh,
have-
no.
No, no.
I have,
Your
I
house,
have
sure.
two sump pumps
And
in my-
Yeah,
did you
she's
tell
high.
them, when she was redoing, right?
when I built my house 30 years ago, I had to get a variance in order to build it there because it was in a flood zone.
Oh, yeah?
On
But
the
your
other
house
side
isn't
of the
in-
street.
Did you have to get a variance?
Yeah,
No.
both those houses got variances.
They got variances?
You got variances
When they built the
when they built it because it was
You
only
are
supposed
in
to
a
be one
flood
house.
zone in that
The
area.
variance.
You
Okay.
are in a flood zone in that
And,
area.
okay, so that should be on my paperwork.
It should
So
be in
this
your
is
title,
another
your
avenue
title,
for me to have to
your
do.
title report should have revealed something like that. in your
Woo, okay, well, I got all my papers out at home, I wanted to hear what I had to hear from, the ones who know, the professionals. Now, I will do my homework.
But that pump that is on Lock Street, we get the water from Main Street because that street goes from, the Main Street is higher, it goes up, or it goes down, and then it rises back up to the canal. And that's where the water is, it's right in there all the time. And that's where the pump is. And I hate to say it, but 99% of the time, that pump is not working.
And that is one of the things that we have been working on for the Route 5S, so that when the county wants to come through and we pave it and they have it all dug up, that we hopefully will replace some of the older water lines and make sure all the drainage is good. That should alleviate some of the problem. And then we're working on eminent domain to get a more permanent solution. Like I said to you the other day, we have 2 properties. One person has given us good easement, the other person is being a little bit harder. And so we are trying to get that so it's a more permanent fix. Again, not saying that any rainstorm or anything, if it's that bad, it's gonna stop water from coming into your basement. But we will try to continue to fix the problem as best we can from our side. We have no control over it. If we get a really bad rainstorm or something happens where the ground level, the groundwater is just so high that it's gonna come in the basement.
99% of the time, when it rains, if it just rains, we're still getting water in
Right,
that.
I understand all that.
Is there any system where we can find out whether there is a fire hydrant pipe leaking uphill of us? That all of a sudden we got this 4-year thing? Is there any hydrologists that can study that?
We did leak detection in Rotterdam Junction everywhere, and
Okay.
so there's a report, Larry, I'm sure I can give it to you, to see if there was any leaks in any of the, it wouldn't be necessarily on any of the mains, but it might be on a
All
faucet.
right, 'cause that's what
I mean,
So much came,
That's my
it's still
theory.
pumping all week long, I've been pumping out water, and it's like, it hasn't
We do
rained
have the
now in
equipment, we
days.
purchased the equipment to censor where that is, so.
Well, my wife put in a tree last week, and they marked the utilities.
Yeah,
And I have
yeah.
a blue circle that says W/S.
Water
So that-
sewer.
That's
That's
water
not-
service.
Oh, water service?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blue would be
Is
for
it
the
blue?
water.
Yes.
Blue, yeah.
Right, but our line,
Water
our
department.
shutoffs are,
Let me tell you where the water comes in. From my back neighbor's yard.
Yeah, it comes.
Well,
from a
it actually comes in
different
from the
street.
canal.
Well,
No,
no.
they're water service.
Service.
Oh, no, I meant the
Yeah, the water.
groundwater, when the canal fills up, it actually flows in the ground through that.
Well, they told us that they marked the water supply in the front of the house.
Yeah.
That's because the Lock Street water main
Okay.
wasn't good enough
No,
to serve your house.
You have to look
So
over on
they
the other
put-
side.
To dip the street behind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
They put a 1 inch and then wide.
so they
Right.
just put that there for no reason, okay. They marked it wrong, didn't they?
I'd like to address, we have sat down with some of the building inspectors. And the weird thing is, I don't know how old the code is, we haven't changed it for the last 3.5 years. And it's, you're right, it's like, only says trailers. It's weird that you can park a boat anywhere, but not a trailer. So we have been reviewing with the 2 building inspectors to see what we can do where it's a fair thing.
Right.
You know, if we're not allowing a camping trailer, why are we allowing a boat, or vice versa? So let's make it more universal, and let's make it where, you know, it's gonna sound weird, but, like the average person, if you're not a millionaire, you know, and you have a camper or whatever, and you gotta store it at $150 a month, that can be an undue charge on someone. So we're trying to come up with a way that is fair for everyone.
The
So
other
we
thing
are
I can
working
think
on
of, like in other cities that I've lived in, there's like a seasonality component, right? So
That has been considered as part of what the new code will look
Well,
like.
I
It'd be an in-season time for parking and an out-of-season time
Right.
for.
I saw this code, and we amended it, but I haven't seen it again. Like, there were changes made to it.
Yes.
Because the gentleman that I think you're referring to, that actually got a criminal charge against him for not moving his trailer,
Yeah.
which
But it was-
I'm not happy about.
But that was done.
No, I understand that, but here's my take. I live in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
I probably drive by your trailer, I don't know how many
Probably do.
times. And I
It's a giant
I
Gray Wolf Limited.
I could care less
Yeah,
about your
that's it.
trailer. It doesn't bother me one iota. My neighbor has a boat, doesn't bother me one iota. I think the fair thing to do when we write this code is to allow an individual to have a trailer in their parking lot, or in their, all year round. It'd make it very simple. One trailer. Like,
One
if
recreational
it's a construction trailer,
I'm not-
so be it. I don't wanna have 30 trailers, I don't wanna have a tractor trailer,
Right.
but if you have a nice camper and you're taking care of it, and you're not living in it, it doesn't
Nice
bother
house
me a
living,
bit.
I'll be
And
with that.
in our neighborhood, the sidelines, it would be impossible for us to even put it on the side of the house.
Well, and I have electric service on one, and I
Right.
have my sewer, my septic tank right on the other. So I don't wanna collapse my leach field and my septic
Right.
system, and I'm not about to take the power out of my neighbor and myself and whoever else is in that box.
And the other thing about the code is corner lots are considered 2 front lots. which the gentleman that had this issue
Was that, yes.
couldn't even put it on his side lot because it was considered a front yard. So,
There's one
I mean,
person right at the
if,
corner of Greensburg and Burdick, that poor person has no backyard,
right.
nor do they have a side yard.
So, I
as you
mean,
start to have these conversations, we're like, I use this thing.
yeah, if it could be one, I mean, one trailer, I wouldn't care what it was, you know what I mean? Like if someone's a contractor, one trailer. Listen, if they have 5 trailers and they're parking them all over the
Right.
place,
Kind of rent
listen,
business,
one
your
trailer,
small driveway.
and then you don't discriminate. Whatever it is, that's your trailer. And then if you have more than that, then you gotta figure something out, but I completely
appreciate
agree
the
with you.
time,
But is
consideration.
there a way to just put a pause on citing these people?
Yeah,
I mean, it's on us to figure it out, and we had it sort of written up, but I haven't seen it, so can we?
It went, it was proposed to go on the agenda, it got pulled from the agenda because there was questions about it, a meeting was held. I have not heard back as the results of that meeting, what wants to be done to it since then. I know there were some revisions proposed, but nobody's officially come to me and said this is.
and if you look at your code online, if I'm perusing the E360 code, there is a 260 bylaw that says under review. And then this one snuck in under 270, 160, and it's the only thing there, which is curious.
So 260 says reserved, what that means
It
is
says it's under review.
Yeah, well,
It
it's
says
reserved.
trailers
Yeah, that's
under
what we're
review.
gonna put
Yeah,
in the
and
new
it's,
code.
that's where the new code's gonna go, is under 260. It was a reserve chapter, which is common. Sometimes board members will create chapters, or equals will create chapters where they anticipate you're going to actually make them. So the new code is gonna go on to 260. 270's existed since before this board was here.
Right.
And all of that, so.
Mr. Schlag, I mean, if there could be a pause, I appealed, I was given an extension until June 23rd. That's fine, great, super. I already have the $100 fine, so I have until June 23rd. It just feels like semantics at this
Well,
point.
and my only point was, we were looking at it, and it's not done.
Yeah,
So it's not terribly fair.
It's not fair.
And you know, we were talking about days, April to November, like, we should just make things easy and say, listen, one trailer in your driveway, as long as it's neat and it's orderly and it's registered, and you're not living in it, whatever the trailer is, it could be, I don't know, it could be a clown trailer or whatever, I don't care. I'm just saying, it would make things so much easier for the code enforcement guys, and it's not this back and forth, because literally, our neighborhood, I'm telling you, the sidelines, I don't think I could, if I had a trailer, I don't have a trailer, but if I had a trailer, I don't think I could physically get it in the side, on the side of my house.
can.
You would have no room, you'd be right against the, I think you only have like 15 feet.
If
So,
the board wants to consider a pause, they can take it up at the next board meeting.
okay,
I think we should introduce the current draft that we have to the next meeting and keep the public hearing open so that we can continue to get nuanced feedback in the particular neighborhoods where, you know, there may be an issue to it. I think we should introduce what we have though, and if it's,
The only reason I would caution against that is because the code as it stands right now lists the length of a trailer, and most people's trailers are longer than what's listed.
but
It doesn't
in the
list the length.
open
doesn't
comment
in the
period,
draft.
we can
The
amend
new
that.
draft,
Well,
Right.
and that's prohibitive too, right? So like,
Right.
my trailer's 37 feet. There are some Class C motor vehicle ones that are much smaller than that.
Right.
So my trailer already supersedes like something somebody can drive.
And the length that they have is smaller than most people if you're gonna get a fifth wheel or some kind of tractor.
Right, or like me, I have 4 kids, so I can't camp in like a pop-up. I mean, we'd all be dead.
If we
Try.
introduce what we have now, we can change can we change the length and weight and language
I was the
until,
one who pulled it from the agenda, so don't call me.
yeah, but I mean, in the process,
I think it should come-
we can, you know,
Yes, you can-
fine tune it,
yes,
but I think it should be out publicly so that we can get the kind of feedback from
When
the
it gets
community.
introduced, there will be public comment on it, and if it needs to go under further review, at the point that after first initial public comment, then you keep the public comment open and you review it, and you introduce the new edits to it. But until it's introduced, there's nothing to do about it right now.
So may I ask, this question may not be for this town board, but what do I do as of June 23rd? Because I'm not getting a criminal charge. I'm a corporate employee, I love my job.
Well, the next board meeting's before June 23rd, so you'll know at least by then whether this board has put a pause on those tickets. So what you received is called a notice of violation.
And I was charged $100.
That's the administrative fee. For any notice of violation that goes out, charges an administrative fee as part of enforcing the actions. I can't do anything about the administrative fee, but we can, if this board takes it up to cause any enforcement actions, it won't go any further than a notice of violation until such time as the code is changed.
Just a couple other things, Mr. Hanson left, but I'll talk to the police department and see if they can't increase their, I don't want to say, their paroling of Route 5S to slow people down.
Speeding is awful, even in our neighborhood, people race
Yeah.
there.
And then also for Mr. Bills, I'll speak to Justin Peterson, he's our water operator, and see if he knows whether or not they give us money or how this transformer is working in the radio tower out in the junction for water 3 and 4.
We got Memorial Day Parade,
Yes, yes.
22nd.
We have Memorial Parade Thursday, next Thursday. It starts around 6. Curry Road will be closed at that time. We actually have the Memorial Day service on Monday the 26th. And for the Rotterdam Memorial Day Parade, we have vendors there. We have Rob's Top Dogs, Just Kickback, Sengies, Kona Ice, Wagon Train, and the Army National Guard and Operation at Ease should be there. So I hope everybody turns out, not only just for the parade, I hope people come to honor our service people on the 29th on Memorial Day at Town Hall. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Mr. Mastriani. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Schwab. All in favor? Aye.
I did.